Okay, members and friends, I'm really tired. It's late. Went to court today. You know, we're in the system now, right? In the bureaucratic bowels of the beast. Where, you know, it's like a football, I'm told. You know, everything's a football. It's like if you get it there on time, they catch it and, you know, they run. So if you miss that throw and you miss the catch, you know, you're out of the loop, right? I don't know if I missed the catch or if I missed the throw. I just know that, you know, we've got something happening in March 27th. And there's some things I have to do. I have to take a couple little courses or something, which is, you know, it's not reassuring. Let's put it that way. He should never have been removed from the home. He's extremely unhappy. And for the last 8 days, these people that have him, they're not caregivers. These people that have him have denied access to my daughters. Not only to the mom, she was 5 minutes to, 5 minutes after. She was within her time frame because they only gave her 10 minutes, remember? If you're late after 10 minutes, just, that caregiver, forget the caregiver, that person that has my grandson was going to leave. She makes all the rules now. She can't sit for 15, 20 minutes. She can only sit for 10, right? Well, I dropped off my girls and they got there at 5 after 12. And the appointment had been canceled. And then today we had court. And the lawyer was supposed to tell, and I'm pretty sure he did, the social worker that, because she was in a meeting all morning waiting for him to show up. So she took advantage of her free time and she had a conference with the other social workers that were there because they had 2 more new cases. All white women. Maybe there was a brown one lurking around, but the majority of them were white. And so they knew that court would take a while. They could bank that she was going to come because she came the last time. This was for my 17-year-old. Long story short, we got there by 12:30. By the time we got out of the courthouse, it was like almost noon because we didn't get into the actual courtroom until about 11:15, 20 after. So by the time you're done with that, right, another 10, 15 minutes. So they knew we were going to be late, and by the time we got there, it was a little after, it was just right before 12:30, and of course they canceled. What's the excuse going to be next week? And then we got 5 more weeks of this. As they say, well, he's in our care. He's in our care. What kind of care are you giving him? A barren room? With some strange this, strange that? Are you poking and prodding? Are you medicating him? We don't know what you're doing. There's no such thing as care. This is not care. He's a stranger to you. You don't know how to care for him. What do you know about him? What do these people know about him? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And anything that they think they know, they are manufacturing it. They're faking it as they go along. They're trying to convince themselves that they're doing a good service to society. No. What they're doing is they're charging the taxpayer to stimulate the economy. And it's been well documented in the United States of America. It started in 1974 with their, their federal aid, the adoption. Anyway, I watched a couple of videos. I haven't done the research, but I watched a couple of videos. And anyone that ever spoke out about it in terms of lawyers and stuff like that, people went off there and tried and disbarred them. One senator got up there. She didn't get reelected, but she called everybody out for what it is, right? Keeps middle class happy. You know, for one child in the United States that gets apprehended for whatever reason, and of course we know they're, in the gene pool of the poverty, in the impoverished families, right? It's not the middle class that are losing their kids, and it's sure in the hell not the elite. No Michael Jackson's here, right? So, anyway, I don't know why I'm thinking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but anyway, I mean, like, you get the gist of it. It's not like it's a movie star's kids, right? So, okay, so on a federal level, in the United States, the way the states, like, the states themselves, like provinces, right, supplement their yearly budgets is by the number of children that they apprehend. And statistically, every year the numbers are going up and up and up. And that's because for every child that they apprehend in the United States, regardless of the state from where these children are being apprehended, the federal government pays $85,000 per child to the state to take care of the child's needs, which is child care. Top of the list. Daycare. Yay! Wheels on the bus, eh? And then, of course, you got your social workers. And then as the children develop psychological problems, because many of them do, right? It's only logical to expect that to happen. But of course, these people won't admit that in these circumstances because they're, in my opinion, still doing their university fucking studies, only they've imported it onto children now. They found a way where they just don't have to rely on monkeys anymore. Like real live monkeys to do their little science experiments, put them in those tubes and, leave them like that for hours, or put them in cages with nothing to hang on to except, an old rotten banana peel, And they're poking at them, and they're prodding, and they're pissing them off just to see what they will do, how it long-term psychologically affects them. These are the people that are getting out of our universities as they're doing this stuff in the university for whatever purpose that they're doing it for. Like, who freaking knows? Like, why would you even want to find out the answer to some of these things that they do behind these closed doors in, places of knowledge? And of course, they're not satisfied with a primate, right? So I'm sure there's some sort of bug study in here somewhere. It's not just, we're trying to save the children from the bad home. We're trying to save the children. I'm not trying to save no children. And if you are, you need to be a little more careful about what kids you're trying to save here. Because right now, my grandson just represents another statistic. And if I find out that Canada does the same thing that the United States does and gives X amount of dollars per province for each child that is apprehended through the ministries right across the freaking board, well, that's going to be put on the table too. And at some point, people are going to become aware of that. Because right now, people probably don't know. That's probably the problem, kind of like the horse thing. People don't know that all these horses cross over the border to get slaughtered. That's, we slaughter them. Americans just ship them over because it's illegal on that side, but it's not illegal on this side. But yet we put ourselves, we have our national symbol as the horse. How the heck can you have a national symbol and at the same time slaughter it? I mean, if that's not hypocritical, I don't know what is. And it's the same thing with paying states X amount of dollars for each child that is apprehended just so that you can stimulate the economy in a roundabout way. That's like locking up sick people and poor people because, you don't want to get rid of the cockroaches in the apartment buildings. You'd rather just tear them down and build new ones and, sell 60-70% across the water. So, that's some twisted shit. It's just twisted. I don't know. Like I said before in the last video, we live in a bullshit society. So, My grandson is a statistic right now, and the clock is ticking. And he's like a football being passed around. That's how they see him. They don't see him as a human being. They see him as a football, piece of paper, only, it's like a football. A piece of paper represents, catch it. Oh, well, what's going to happen when you drop it? Because the day you removed him out of here is the day you dropped it. These people who have him are psychologically damaging him. They are permanently altering his personality. They are depriving him of his happiness and his rightful birthplace. And they're sadistic. This is sadistic behavior. There was absolutely no reason to remove him from the home. Okay? We're not dangerous people. We don't have violent arguments. We don't practice criminality. What else? My kids are striving to get educated and, try and, become productive members in society. All his basic needs were taken care of, plus some more than just that. He was pampered in a lot of ways. He was well looked after because he had more than one caregiver who actually loved him. Like, we loved him. These people, he's just a commodity for them. So, we started fundraising. At this point, the lawyers that I've been talking to have not wanted to take the money at this point. But I've informed them that the money that I, myself, put in there from my life insurance is there. Because I don't trust the process. And even if I get them back in a very timely manner, which is gone now, there is no such thing as timely manner in this thing, okay? Because we got to go back to court on the 27th. And I don't even know what that's for because I'm so flabbergasted with everything. And that's why I still want a lawyer. Because I don't even know if what I did today was right. People looking at me like, I'm the shady one here. I'm not fucking shady. Okay? I'm the victim. My grandson is the victim. My children are the victim. We are the victims. The family is the victim. And my daughter is sick. That's not my fault. I have only tried to prevent her from getting either murdered or disappear and end up in some very precarious situation where I'd never find her and she'd be in misery up until the day she died. Right? All I've ever tried to do is help her. Because I love her too, right? And protect her and help her grow. And that doesn't warrant, these professionals looking at me to see how I enable her drug addiction. I don't enable it. I try to steer her away from it. She was a successful parent for 28 months until this shit started to happen. And this is the worst I've ever seen. Ever. But then I've never just thrown my daughter out into the streets with nothing either. I have never done that. And if I should have ever done that, it would only be because I know she'd be resilient to stand up to it. But I know she's not. And therefore that makes her a victim. So, here's the deal. The trust fund stays. We will continue to raise money. I am not here to mislead you. I am not exploiting my grandson. I am not exploiting my daughter. I am not exploiting our situation. I am not exploiting the nonprofit. And I'm not exploiting myself. I'm just being honest. Okay? I'm not going to just stay quiet and wait for something good to happen. Wait for the sympathy of these people. The mercy. Wait for the mercy of these people. These people don't understand what mercy means. I don't think so. Because they didn't do a good job initially, in the beginning. And there's still a vendetta. Because they don't like me talking to the camera. But I haven't mentioned their names. I've only mentioned their title. They're the ones that have to walk out in society and live with themselves. Not me. I live with myself every day. And I know I'm a good person. I try and produce good things. I don't go into households and try and destroy them. That's the difference between those people and me. And I'm not going to make apologies for that. So, the trust fund stays. We will continue to fundraise. I will continue to get advice from lawyers on the fly. Because that's what it is right now. Because the lawyers didn't want to take the money that I offered them to help me do what I was supposed to do today. And only by the grace of God do I hope I did it right. Because I'm just, I'm tired. I'm tired. I still have like 8 people in this house. Had another teenager move in. A homeless teenager. She's quiet and she's been going to school. I guess her dad's in Florida or something, and he bought her a bus pass and they want her to graduate. So I'm just, trying to be patient with that, right? And then in the summertime, I think she's going to go up into Montreal area where lots of her family is. And then she'll be with her family, right? But for now, her father wants her to finish school while she's here. So that puts 8 in my house again, because my daughter's back now. And if you factor in her boyfriend running in and out every now and then, all skittish, right? That makes 9. That's a lot. That's a lot of people to be paying attention to, and and trying to deal with everybody's needs, and and it's all good. It's all good. Like I'm conditioned for it, but at the end of the day, I'm tired. And I got a lot of stuff I have to do, because now I got to pack up my dad's wife and go take it to her. So that will take, a few days, right? But I'm not comfortable with this waiting around for 5 weeks, hoping for the best, hoping for the mercy of people that don't like me. They're not going to give me mercy. They haven't shown me any mercy. And if this is the system, the way the system is, it needs to change. Like, it needs to change. We can't wait for the United States to change it for us. We have to start ourselves. Right? We don't live in a military state. We live in a free country. So, we have the trust fund. I've set it up. I've already did a major deposit in it because I borrowed money on my life insurance. My son started a PayPal. This thing can go 3 ways. It can either go longer in court, where that money that's there right now, right, will go towards a lawyer. Because no matter what I did, based on the advice that I got, these people want to be whatever, and, they're going to fight. Or I'm going to get tricked, right? Because, I'm not being able to focus very well. So, somehow, some way they're going to trick. They're going to get what they want, because they're going to trick their way through it, because they're tricksters. So I still don't trust the process, right? But let's say everything goes okay and there's money in the bank. I think we should just leave that for Andre so he can go to school later on in life. Right? He can choose to be what he wants to be. Right? Or we may go into a lawsuit. Because this is a corrupt system. The system itself is corrupt. Maybe the social workers are victims to the system. If you want to kind of look it on the other side of the coin. You know how I say they're not the victims, we are. Well, maybe in a roundabout way, maybe the social workers themselves are victims to the system. But somebody needs to be held accountable for this because it was unnecessary. Right? It was unnecessary. It was unnecessary to psychologically damage another little boy that just becomes a statistic so that it can stimulate the economy in one way or another. So I'm going to make a web page. I've been thinking about it for a while. Actually, quite a while, really. And, you know, because I do work on a nonprofit, obviously everything I think about centers around that too. So my contribution towards my community will be a way to find a means to turn this around for other people's kids, for other grandmas, for other families, for other uncles and aunties and, you know, cousins and stuff like that. Andre came from a large family, a very large family. He's lucky. To be born into a large family is to be lucky, is to be fortunate. And they had no right to take that away from him.